Israel is one of those countries that's been on my list for years and years. So when the opportunity finally came up for me to visit, I jumped at it. What I love about travel is discovering new cultures, meeting new people, trying new foods, and stepping outside of my comfort zone. And I got all of that and more during my week-long trip to Israel. It was a whirlwind tour, but in the best way possible. We flew into Tel Aviv and spent a few days exploring this vibrant city. From the beach, to the markets, to the restaurants, there's so much to see and do here. The next stop on our itinerary was Jerusalem. We explored the Old City, including the Western Wall, Via Dolorosa, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It was amazing to see these historic sites and learn about their significance. Next up was a trip to Bethlehem in the West Bank. Here we visited the Church of the Nativity, which is believed to be the birthplace of Jesus Christ. We also spent some time in Nazareth, which is where Jesus grew up. These cities were definitely off the beaten path, and it was great to get a taste of Palestinian culture. After that, it was back to Tel Aviv for a few more days of exploring. We took a day trip to the ancient city of Jaffa, which is full of history and charm. We also checked out some of the cool neighborhoods like Florentine and Rothschild Boulevard. Of course, we had to go back to Jerusalem for one last night to watch the sunset over the city from the Mount of Olives. So let's jump right in and see what my week in Israel was like. Our first stop in Israel was the capital city of Jerusalem. But before we get to that, let's talk about how we got there. We flew into Ben Gurion Airport near Tel Aviv, and it was pretty easy to get a taxi or Uber into the city. From there, we checked into our hotel and then headed out to explore. Our first stop was the Western Wall, which is one of the holiest sites in Judaism. It was really crowded, but we managed to find a spot to pray and reflect. After that, we walked down Via Dolorosa, which is the path that Jesus walked on his way to the crucifixion. We stopped at each station of the cross and then made our way to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is where Jesus was crucified and buried. Overall, we spent about 3 hours walking around and seeing all of the main sites in Jerusalem. If you're planning a trip, I recommend doing the same. There are also other things to do in Jerusalem, like visiting the Western Wall Tunnel or taking a tour of the Temple Mount, but we didn't have time to do any of that. From Jerusalem, we took a day trip to Bethlehem and Nazareth in the West Bank. Bethlehem is where Jesus was born, and Nazareth is where he grew up. To get there, we crossed into the West Bank through the checkpoint at Jerusalem. Crossing wasn't too bad. It took us about an hour to get through security, and then another hour to get to Bethlehem. Once we arrived, we checked into our hotel and then headed out to explore. First stop was the Church of the Nativity, which is believed to be the birthplace of Jesus Christ. It was really crowded, but we managed to find a spot to pray and reflect. We also visited the Shepherd's Field, which is where the angels appeared to the shepherds and told them to come see the baby Jesus. After that, we drove about an hour north to Nazareth, where we visited the Basilica of the Annunciation, which is where the angel Gabriel told Mary she would give birth to Jesus. We also walked around the Old City and saw the traditional Arab architecture. Overall, we spent about 8 hours in Bethlehem and Nazareth. If you're planning a trip, I recommend spending at least half a day in each city. Getting back to Jerusalem was a bit of a hassle. We had to wait another hour at the checkpoint to get back into Jerusalem. From there, we checked back into our hotel, freshened up, and headed out for dinner. We found a great restaurant in the Armenian Quarter and had a delicious meal. Overall, our day trip to Bethlehem and Nazareth was a great experience. We got to see some amazing sights and learn about the history of Jesus' birthplace. Plus, it was a nice change of pace from the hustle and bustle of Jerusalem. The next day, we spent exploring more of Jerusalem. In the morning, we took a tour of the City of David, which is an archaeological site that tells the story of Jerusalem's origins. We got to walk through tunnels and see ancient artifacts. It was really cool. In the afternoon, we walked around the Old City and explored the Jewish quarter. We stopped by the Western Wall, which was less crowded this time, and prayed. We also visited the Haifa synagogue, which was destroyed in 1969 but rebuilt in 2007. It's a beautiful synagogue with intricate architecture. Overall, we spent about 6 hours touring the City of David and exploring the Old City. If you're planning a trip, I recommend setting aside a full day to explore Jerusalem. There is so much to see and do here, including visiting the Tower of David Museum or taking a night tour of the Old City. On our last day in Jerusalem, we did something really unique. We took a tour of the Mount of Olives and got a panoramic view of the entire city. We also got to see some important biblical sites along the way, including the Garden of Gethsemane and the Church of All Nations. We ended our trip in Tel Aviv, which is Israel's second largest city. It's known for its beaches, restaurants, and nightlife. We spent 3 nights here and had a great time exploring. On our first night, we checked into our hotel and then headed out to explore the city. Our first stop was the Carmel Market, which is a bustling market with everything from fresh produce to spices to clothing. We got a feel for the city's vibrant atmosphere. After that, we walked along the Tel Aviv Promenade, which is a popular spot for walking, biking, and rollerblading. Stopped for a coffee at one of the many cafes along the way. For dinner, we went to a restaurant in the Florentine neighborhood, which is known for its trendy bars and restaurants. Overall, our first day in Tel Aviv was a great introduction to the city. We got to see the Carmel Market, the Tel Aviv Promenade, and the Florentine neighborhood. On our second day in Tel Aviv, we did something really unique. We took a tour of the city's underground and discovered ancient tunnels that were used by the British Army. During World War II, we also learned about the city's history and saw important sights along the way. In the afternoon, we walked around the Rothschild Boulevard, which is a popular spot for shopping and people watching. We stopped at one of the many boutiques along the way and bought some souvenirs. For dinner, we went to a restaurant in the Negev Desert neighborhood, which is known for its upscale restaurants and bars. Overall, our second day in Tel Aviv was packed with activities. We got to explore the city's underground, shop on the Rothschild Boulevard, and dine in the Negev Desert neighborhood. On our last day in Tel Aviv, we took a day trip to the ancient city of Jaffa. Jaffa is located on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea and has a rich history dating back thousands of years. We explored the old city, which is full of winding alleyways, colorful buildings, and cute shops. We also visited the Jaffa flea market, which is a bustling market with everything from antiques to spices to clothing. We got a feel for the city's vibrant atmosphere. For lunch, we ate at a restaurant overlooking the Mediterranean Sea. The food was delicious, and the views were amazing. Overall, our day trip to Jaffa was a great experience. We got to see the city's rich history, explore the Jaffa flea market, and relax on the beach. That's all for my week in Israel. Hope you enjoyed the video and learned a little something about this amazing country. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about my trip, and I'll be sure to answer them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.